You see, I am a simple college student living alone in an apartment, and I was very enthusiastic about the release of Pokemon Heart Gold / Soul Silver here in the States. I have practically locked myself out of all media and the internet aside from school purposes. That means no 4chan, no V, no Pokemon, except as I was busy with the school year being poor at the time, I wasn't able to buy Soul Silver on its launch date. After my school year ended, I ordered Soul Silver on Amazon. However, it would take a week for it to arrive. I decided that during the time, I would replay my Crystal version on my Game Boy Color. However, I realized that long ago my mother threw it away because I told her the save went dead, and I was very upset about it then. She also threw away my Silver version, so all I had is my Game Boy Color. Such as I set out to Game Shop and bought a new, used Silver version. As it's the only Pokemon game left that they have for the GBC, $10 fairly cheap. I went home and started up from a silent trip. However, that's where things started to get bizarre, and most likely the reason why you should read this. The Game Freaked logo started up as normal, but it froze there. Thought the cart was just an error or something, so I turned off and turned it back on. The same thing happened. I tried pressing A and start over and over, and all the buttons. Eventually the logo vanished and there was a black screen for about 5 seconds. Suddenly, rather than going to the usual menu screen, I was already in the game in the previous save file, which was odd because I was expecting all of these carts to have been wiped by the poor battery. Either way, I wasn't complaining, as I would choose the continue option to see what the previous guy did anyways. First off, I checked the trainer information. His name was just... He didn't really have much original. I checked his profile and it appeared that he had 999 hours put into the game, with all 16 badges, 99999.9 Pokédollars, and all 251 Pokemon on the Pokédex. Seeing that he apparently had Mew logged. Also, I am guessing he either used a game gen or was a really hardcore Pokemon player back then. I checked his Pokemon to see what a cool team he has. To my surprise, I saw 5 unknowns and 6 Pokemon named Hurry. I'm thinking this just must have been some cruel joke by the person who last played the game, but I decided to check their profiles of the Pokemon anyways. As I expected, there were different letters of unknown. All level 5. I was a bit shaky when the name unknown alphabet appeared at the time, but I identified the word spelled out to be leaf. As for the 6 Pokemon, it turned out to be mind you, this was before their individualized Pokemon accounts. The Inkwell looked normal, but it was a level 5 with only 1 HP left with only 2 attacks, Leer and Flash. I don't know why they named it Hurry, but at the time I just discarded it as most eerie thing that despite my volume being at max, none of the Pokemon had their usually cries in pure silence. Having enough of a team, I closed it. I was parked at what appears to be a room inside the Bellsprout Tower. However, for some reason, there was no NPCs around. Even more eerie was that the pillar in the middle didn't move at all, as if leaning on its side. There was no music at all, and there was no exit or ladder. At least, I thought there wasn't. I walked around for a few minutes, but I can't seem to find a way out. This was certainly not a room I've seen in the Bellsprout Tower before. I tried checking my items for escape rope, but the bag was completely empty. There wasn't any wild Pokemon either. I finally managed to find a ladder, which turned out to be behind the pillar. The screen turned black and the music finally started playing. I had a sudden chill as I recognized that melody I heard to be the theme you hear when you listen to the radio at the Alpha Rooms, where the unknowns are at. I immediately realized that it wasn't a loading destination, but rather I was in a dark room that would need flash before I took care of that thought. I immediately checked my Pokegear to change the radio to something more pleasant, but it turned out that there was no radio card or even a phone nor time card. There was just only a map in which Gold from earlier, and I would call him Gold from now on. was just walking in the midst of black. I recalled that Chrome has flash, so I turned off my Poke Gear and made friends use flash. I didn't see any messages saying hurry has used flash or anything like that. The room just became lit, just like that. And I soon regretted it. The room was chilling, blood red with a liner gray path heading south. The ladder I used to go up down was not there at all. I had no choice but to head south. The screen got darker every 20 steps I made, until I finally made it to the end, which appears to be a sign. Read the sign message turned back now. Suddenly, I was asked to answer yes or no, but there was no question to ask, so I chose yes, as I do not know what asking. The screen went black again, making the ladder climb sound. The unknown radio stopped. In a few seconds was replaced with a not as creepy Pokeflu radio. I was in another dark room, but I held my breath and used flash again. Suddenly it said that Hurried had fainted, which was odd. Since I recalled that there was no status condition like poison on him, and I clearly wasn't in a battle. I checked my Pokemon quickly and suddenly said he's no longer in my party. In fact, after a bit of investigating, none of my Pokemon are there, but instead all replaced with a level 10 unknown. I did the same thing as before and spelled out the unknown, then my team of unknowns spelled he died. Either way, after the creepy change, the room was lit to reveal myself in a very small room that appears to be only 4 squares big. The walls of the room were gray bricks, as if I was inside something that was hollowed out. Outside the room appears to be a bunch of graves similar to the ones in Pokemon Red/Blue. I've walked around the small room and pressed A, but nothing happened. I've already concluded that there's clearly a hacked game and found some peasant who sold it to GameStop. However, my curiosity kept me going. I checked the trainer's profile of dot again, only to find out that his ring of gold was missing his arms. He also seemed to appear less smug, but rather seemed more sad and empty in a way that I do not know how to describe. For some reason, it also now said that he has 24 badges, which was clearly impossible. After a few minutes of aimless wandering, my character suddenly spun and did the escape rope spinning animation. Instead of flying up through, the character spun downwards slowly, as if sinking. After the screen, the music stopped. After I finally landing, the overground spread of gold color is different. Now instead of the usual red color he dons, he appears to be white now, including his skin, as if he came straight from the colorless Game Boy games placed into a colored background of the Game Boy Color. I checked his profile, and now as white, his overworked sprite, he lost his legs and has what appeared to be bloody tears from his eyes. It also says he now has 32 badges, which is now starting to disturb me, as this change to the number seems to represent something important. I also checked my Pokemon, which contains 5 unknowns with a level 100 without anything. The unknown are at this time level 15 and spell the word dying. I checked the TV's profile and it was a shiny TV, except there was only half of a sprint. 1 leg, 1 arm, 1 eye. It only has a tag pair song. The area I was in itself was the Sprout Tower, with the marble pillar as before, except everything was apparently red now. I walked north where it felt like forever, and eventually I encountered some generic men and women NPC. They were all lined up on the side facing the long singed pillar in the middle. They were also white and nothing happened. I tried to speak to them, I just kept going north, and eventually the pillar finally appears chopping off, with a transparent red in the spot. I went up to the red, and without even pressing A, I was suddenly engaged in the final battle. The music starts again, which sounded like the unknown radio music again, but played backwards. Gold's battle backsprint matches his front one with bloody eyes, white skin, and lack of arms, while Red's sprint was the same as before in GSC except for transparent. The text simply said, "Wants to battle?" as if he has no name, and both of us only have 1 Pokemon each, which is weird as I swore I had 6 with the unknown. My shiny Zippy came out convincingly with half a sprint for the black sprint. Also, the shiny noise and animation was different, as the sound it made sounded like a little screech. Attacks used completely red send out a simply normal male Pikachu, except his level is 225, and his sprint seemed sad and had tears in his eyes, rather than the usual fight item Pikachu. Run menu. I was only given the option to use the attack since we only had one. I chose it naturally since Pikachu was level 205. He went first. Pikachu used Curse, lowering his speed and increasing his other status. I'm not even if Pikachu could actually use Curse. So we used Perish Song. In 3 turns, both Pokemon gets KO'd. Not like I have a choice at this point. It didn't even go back to the fight menu, as the battle just continued without me. Also, note that there were no animations at all for some reason. Pikachu used Fail, which didn't do much damage despite his level and boost. His health was max. So we used Parasong, nothing happened. It was already used. Pikachu used Frustration, which did a ton of damage, knocking Tilly down to less than 10 HP. To be used Pain Split, which surprised me as Ghibli didn't even have that attack in the first place. Now Ghibli and Pikachu have about 150 HP. Pikachu used Mean Look, not like that did anything, as expected due to the effects of the parasol. My Ghibli fainted, except that in the text it said Ghibli has died. Instead of the original job, the screen animation, the Ghibli backsprint just finished. For some reason, the Pikachu was still up, even the Perish song didn't count as my loss. Pikachu used one more different attack beyond the 5 attack limit. Pikachu used Destiny Bond. Afterwards, it said Pikachu has died, with a low faded out animation. Apparently, I was the winner as the transparent red sprite showed up and said. At the point, I just freaked out as the transparent red sprite was suddenly beheaded, leaving nothing but his transparent body. The battle ended at the point and faded out amongst with the music. I'm back in the overworld with another change to the gold sprint. He is now a transparent red overworld phone. I quickly checked the gold's profile, which this time the only thing remained of him is his head. With a transparent skin, his head was zoomed in a bit, showing a black void in his eyes. It now stated that he had 40 badges. Then I backed out and checked on my Pokemon. They were all level 20 shiny unknown, which when spelled out read no more. I was at what now I thought would next to be the end. There was apparently no music playing, but for some reason I still felt like there was something was there. I could be hurt. I went back in my room in the Newburgh town. Maybe I could finally get to play this game properly, but no. But who am I kidding? I knew this must have done something. I walked around my room to interact with things. I'm still a bit afraid to go down the stairs to see what awaits down there. No, I said walked as well. The background was moving. Gold was not moving his transparent limbs at all. While doing so, he's just floating like those ghosts you see in Diamond Sauce Pearl. As expected, the radio computer and the TV did not work, so I had no choice to go down the stairs. I ended up in the same lower level room of my house. Everything appears normal except for Mom is at home. After fading into contact with anything in this room, I decided to go outside. To my surprise, that the door leading outside was south didn't work. And instead, I just walked straight through a void. I continued moving south to see what was going on. My house vanished as I heard the south into the void. It was creepy when I entered the void. The outline on Gold's transparent sprite turned to white, contrasted with the pitch black. Eventually, I reached a white area in Gold's sprite. Turned out to be black and transparent again. I could see it south without thinking of stopping at all. After a long trek, so I finally encountered something. It was Gold's regular sprite. I talked to it. He said goodbye forever, notable with the space in between the forever and vanish. As that happened, it said use nightmare, which at the point I would not be denied the possibility of Gold did another escape rope animation, spinning slowly downwards like before. Now I'm back into the small hollowed room. by the graves earlier, or at least I say I was back there. It didn't notice me anymore. I tried to walk around, but nothing moved. Not even wall bumping noise. I checked my trainer profile. Absolutely no ghosts right left. It said I have 0 badges and all the pictures of my gym leaders at the bottom were replaced with skulls. I checked my Pokemon, which were all level 25 unknown, except it spelled out a phrase that I dared to read. I'm dead. As soon as I went back to the overworld, the room I supposedly was in was covered with the same box as the walls. Then I figured out what exactly the room was. A finally text that said "RIP." The room was a big grave surrounded by other graves. Gold had already been dead. He died presumably a few years ago after defeating Red. He was also a young trainer who, despite his efforts in collecting so many badges and attempts at becoming a Pokemon Master, was still unable to avoid being dealt with the fate of death, and his efforts eventually forgotten by the next generation. I was unable to escape the room for that text no matter what I pressed. I tried resetting the game and the same thing happened, at which I finally decided to give up on the horrible nightmare. After what I expected, I will never look at the Gimmick Unknown the same way again. They said that the only first generation have folk tales and legends, but the second generation have showed me how unpleasant the truth can be. I eventually enjoyed Soul Silver immediately, but I still can't unthink what that rigged game has told me. The game in early September 2010, a complete work in fan game Lost Silver was made. The game in its own excluded rather than a ROM hack, therefore does not require a simulator nor a Poke Silver ROM. There has been talk about explaining the story by adding a different scene of events in the players choose no as the sign is to turn back now. While many people believe that the events when choosing no, which is referred to the hidden by fans, is just made up addition by the fans, it is in fact made up by the original writer in response to the creator of the fan game. The standalone fan game was made using the entire Pokemon engine created by a game creator program called GameMaker. The source file of the game can be downloaded here and edited here.